Hey guys, Joe here at JP Details with episode 6 of the world's most swirliest Porsche 911 restoration series, and today we're going to be detailing the engine bay, the frunk, the interior, the registration plates and the plastic registration plates around. We've seemed to find ourselves muddled up with these videos and the correct order that these stages were actually carried out on the car, so due to the ceramic coating delivery being late, I had to remain productive, which meant doing the wheels off detail, interior detail and the engine bay detail before finishing the paintwork. I thought it best to fire out the ceramic coating video before this one, so here we are. The engine bays on most modern vehicles are well and truly built solid enough to withstand a good blasting from a pressure washer. However, with this 2004 Porsche 911 996 Carrera 4S, combined with the fact that the engine bay isn't massively dirty, I opted to take a less saturating approach. At this stage in the detail, the paintwork is in fact fully corrected and refined, so it wasn't a viable option for me to take the car back outside and expose it to the elements. Myself and the owner of the car never spoke about the detailing of the engine bay, but due to my late arrival of ceramic coating, I decided to go the extra mile and kept working. In an attempt to keep my customer's vehicle as clean as possible with as less overspray from the products, I opted to spray the product directly into the detail brush and then attacked each accessible area of the engine bay. Due to this and the fact that the engine bay isn't overly dirty with what seems to be a light to medium covering of road dust, I've decided to use Maguire's Last Touch spray detailer for this engine bay detailing stage. The other advantage of using this product over a generic all-purpose cleaner is that I won't have to rinse the engine bay down afterwards and will simply only need to take a microfiber towel to reveal a glorious finish. As a one-step cleaning process for this freebie engine bay detail to kill some time, I'm going to be able to get the painted areas nice and shiny and smear free, whilst the plastics will appear to be slightly darker and nicely dressed. Not bad for a freebie, right? The design of these rear engine mounted Porsche 911 996s does make for quite an interesting and intricate detailing process. There is quite a bit going on down yonder with a mixture of different materials, surfaces and design elements to contend with. A Swissvax detail brush, Maguire's detail spray and a microfiber towel worked wonders. In an ideal world then I would have tackled the engine bay as one of the first steps of the detail whilst the wet work was being done. A complete pre-rinse and agitation of APC with various sized brushes and then rinsing again with the pressure washer would have removed more dirt from those trapped and out of sight areas, followed with blow drying and dressing of the plastics with a specific plastic dressing combined with 2 or 3 hours of my time would have yielded a slightly more in-depth detailing result. The advantage of using a detail spray over a generic and what would most commonly be used APC is going to mean that it will be a nice and easy yet intricate one-step cleaning process. I guess the primary goal here is to get the engine bay nicely presented within a short time. The next not so tricky task to tick off from the Porsche's to-do list is the front luggage loading area and underneath the bonnet. I've heard of these areas being called a frunk. In fact I do call them a frunk myself because they are like the trunk or boot of the car but at the front, so frunk. Stage 1, vacuum the rather deep luggage compartment in the centre of the frunk with my various size and shaped George pneumatic hoover attachments, in a bid to remove every last microscopic speck of visible foreign body. I appreciate that you can't currently see what I'm doing, so this footage is a bit useless, but please see it as proof that I did actually vacuum out that luggage loading area. Once again, using Maguire's detail spray and a Swissvax detail brush, I'm going to clean all areas of the frunk, starting with the rather large plastic cover. The detail spray is going to provide these areas with the light clean that they require and provide them with a slightly darker finish. Considering that the frunk wasn't overly dirty, then perhaps APC, a hose and a whole load of scrubbing and cleaning, not forgetting the drying, would have been overkill. After a thorough agitation with the detail brush and the detail spray, a microfiber towel was used to finish the areas which presented the entirety of the frunk in a nicely clean appearance. The underside of the bonnet was cleaned in the same manner, which was all that these areas required. A final light vacuum was given before closing the bonnet for the very last time. The initial valeting, detailing, cleaning stage, or whatever you want to call it, for the interior was to give all areas an initial in-depth vacuum before cleaning with products commences. By giving all areas an initial vacuum prior to getting your cleaners and detail brushes out is quite simply going to remove the loose bits of debris that would otherwise make your life and job 10 times harder. This rule goes for all areas for the interior, but perhaps more so with the leather seats. If you didn't complete an initial vacuum stage first to remove those loose dirt and debris particles, then these small bits of dirt would inevitably get scrubbed into the leather surfaces, potentially causing damage. Call the initial in-depth vacuum stage the pre-rinsing stage for the bodywork to make our contact cleaning safer and easier, but surely this is just common sense. A complete clean for the interior followed, which initially began with the cleaning of the steering wheel. A 10:1 dilution of all-purpose cleaner and the Swissvax interior detail brush combined with a few moments of my time worked wonders. After the contact cleaning had been completed to a point where my detailing OCD was satisfied, a microfiber towel was used to clean the product and greasy residue off. The centre column armrest, storage compartment, handbrake and gear shifter followed shortly after, following the exact same technique. All areas on the interior were cleaned this way, in fact not one single surface remained either uncleaned or unvacuumed. To give you a brief history of the car and how it came towards myself for a proper detail, while the new owner of the car and my customer had recently purchased the Porsche from either a private garage or dealership. I'm pretty sure that the Porsche was prepared to a certain degree by the in-house valeters, but as usual those skivvies like to miss the details. As we saw in the first 3 episodes to this crazy detailing series, then the exterior was in dire need of a proper machine polish. As usual, the in-house valeters used a swirl filling 1-step polish to get the paintwork shiny, but unfortunately they must have used a similar type of polish to clean the interior. Most interior surfaces did have an unwanted shine to them. I'm guessing this could either be years of grease that just hasn't been properly cleaned, or it's a shiny interior dressing of some sort. Either way, the leather interior of your vehicle should be matte in its natural finish, so that's my main priority with this interior, returning it back to as close to a factory finish as I can get it. Unlike the engine bay, I was actually being paid to detail the interior, so I certainly took my time in doing a good job. Every accessible area was vacuumed or dusted prior to cleaning with my APC and Swissvax detail brush, followed with wiping over using a microfiber towel. I'll give you one main tip for cleaning slightly older Porsche leather and slightly older leather in general. Dilute your product to suit the condition of the vehicle. You certainly don't want to go in using a heavy strength chemical for these more so delicate materials. When applying the product to the leather, don't spray it directly onto the surface and allow it to drip down. Those drips can cause lighter smears on the leather, where in fact those smears have taken some of the colouring out of the leather dye. Apply the product into your brush and then agitate, usually in circles, to clean the material. By doing this method is actually going to reduce the chance of any product running down and therefore decrease the chance of any runs appearing on the leather surface. Treat one section at a time, followed with mopping up using a microfiber towel, and the rest should dry fine naturally. With these older types of leather, you certainly don't want to use a stiff bristled detail brush because you could be in for a dirty detailing disaster. At almost 20 years old, this Porsche with 60,000 miles on the clock is very unlikely to be returned back to 100% brand new condition. With a bit of experience whilst detailing these future classic vehicles, then you should begin to understand how far you can push the leather. For this 996 Carrera 4S, there were plenty of cracks present in the leather and also some areas where the colour dye had been abraded away by the drivers getting in and out. You wouldn't want to make these areas any worse by scrubbing away at those slightly damaged surfaces, so you just need to know when to stop and how far to go. Without a complete reconditioning of the seats or a retrim, we have to settle for what's safe for the leather, which, don't get me wrong, with my expertise is a pretty good standard. After the cleaning stage where every last applicable surface was treated, I followed up with a final detailed vacuum of all areas using my various George pneumatic vacuum attachments to remove every last final trace of dirt or dust. Don't forget to prise the seams of the leather with one hand and vacuum and clean out those crevices with the other. Just be a little more careful with the leather interior on a slightly older vehicle, particularly on these performance cars, because those seams are far more delicate than the ones on your average 2019 Mercedes, BMW or Audi. The final stage for the interior cleaning duties are to clean the windows, instrument cluster and the rear view mirror, potentially even the infotainment system screen. Obviously, when you are spraying around all-purpose cleaners or potentially any plastic dressings, then there is a good chance that some of that overspray will settle on the interior windows. I use G-Technic panel wipe and a generic multi-purpose microfiber towel to clean the windows for a 100% streak-free finish, and this is completed after the rest of the interior cleaning work has been finished. The only other products that may have been possibly applied to the Porsche at this point would have been G-Technic L1 leather guard, however the owner of the vehicle didn't opt for this as an upgrade service. The owner's request was for me to give the interior a complete clean, which has now been completed to perfection. Something that I do love about cleaning the leather interior on an older car is the fresh leather smell coming back out once that product smell has disappeared. The car almost smells like it has just left the factory, and with older Porsche leather, it certainly has a distinct smell to it. One of the final stages to finish the smaller jobs list off is to clean the door shut sills, hinges and the filler cap area. These areas were not overly dirty and only required the Maguire's detail spray and 2 fresh microfiber towels. Quite a simple job in itself, and one that only took me 20 minutes or so to do, so nothing with great interest for me to waffle on about. If these areas were dirtier to begin with, then they would have been pre-cleaned at the washing stage using APC and a detail brush. Registration plates are prone to becoming swirled up, faded and in general to lose their shininess. The private plates on the 996 were relatively new, so I opted to give them a single stage machine polish before ceramic coating them with 3 layers of G-Technic's finest. Nothing too crazy with the plates, just a good going over with the machine polisher worked wonders. The front registration plate surround and holder was initially cleaned with APC, a detail brush and then rinsed off and dried, before protecting the surface with a new to me product. Lithium trim serum was sent out to me by the company for a product review, which I do plan to make a separate video on. This Porsche was in fact the first vehicle for me to use this product on, and to say that I'm impressed with the product will be a complete understatement. Apply the product directly to a microfiber towel or a microfiber or foam applicator of your choosing and massage the product onto the surface to be treated. At first the product does feel a little greasy, but after it's been worked in and allowed to dry, that greasiness soon disappears. I get a good feeling that this plastic trim coating is going to outlast many others on the market, and I do continue to use this product to this day with great success. It darkens the natural finish of plastics to a desirably satisfying point, and it almost makes me want to dress a huge piece of plastic just for the strange kicks. This isn't the last time I'll be using this product on the Porsche, but to finish today's video here still means that I do have various tasks left to finish the Porsche in the 7th and final episode. As always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, be sure to drop the videos a like, and why not give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram, just search JP Details. Feel free to visit the JP Details online store, link in the description below, and I'll hopefully catch you in the next one.